Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night, as the Marauders of Gorilla Town keep the Syndicate well outside a fort in the southern Cutlass Keys. KOTT news crews were on the scene and spoke with the victors after the fight. Well, how'd it go out there tonight, able to keep them outside a fort with the 2-point hold?
Yeah, I mean, it went good for us, I guess. We could have probably 3-point held them, but we just decided to make it easier for ourselves and just farm them on one side of the map.
Calling it a casual evening, then?
Yeah, pretty casual. Just a, normal night.
Well, you guys have kind of been pushed back down into Cutlass Keys here in the Mosh Pit area. Do you have any intentions to kind of regroup and re-expand out there across the island?
Yeah, we're probably gonna be seeing out how our Brightwood War goes against Street AB. We'll try to have some of our best players there, I guess, and then also merc some of the good players. And then also looking to push Eben for another war versus Outcast. If it helps them get better, if they got better since the last time we fought them.
Before leaving Spyglass Ridge, KOTT News were able to speak with the offense about their efforts as well. Good effort out there, Arya.
How's it going?
I'm doing all right. I'm sorry you didn't do as well as you'd like tonight, I'm sure. Care to give me a couple words about it?
Well, we actually had a pretty good plan going into it. We did a lot better than we did in the last few wars. We got 2 points, almost got that third. Didn't quite push them in the fort phase. It was a fun war. As always, it's more practice, more reps in. But yeah.
Well, no, you gave it a good college try, as they say, so good effort out there. I hear some members of your squad talking about the possibility of going after Dogtown in the future. What do you think about that?
Oh, I didn't actually notice that, but yeah, maybe. We have, guess we have to go against somebody at some point, right? We can't keep going against the same guys, but yeah.
Continuing our ongoing coverage of the mysterious group investigating the deserts of Brimstone in search of unhatched eggs, KOTT news crews were working up a light sweat hauling rocks in the acid pools when we discovered a secret hidden entrance to a long-forgotten ancient cave. KOTT investigative crews encountered resistance along the way, but were able to secure a specimen for future study in the museum. Turning to the weather for today, and once again it looks like another day of sunshine all afternoon long for all you aspiring minstrel fishermen out there. But be mindful after sundown when the humidity drops and the seasonal monsoons give rise to a modest chance of corruption invasion across 20% of the island. 2 more submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. Tonight, the Syndicate members of Pharmaceuticals attack the Covenant converts of Outcasts for control of the resort destination of Ebonscale. Pharmaceuticals returned to the history books after a long hiatus by challenging the hero-worshipping zealots for control of the medicinal hot springs. But the Outcasts have been hoping that by holding on to the bamboo forest preserves, they might entice their hero to return to battle, if only in spirit. Meanwhile, the Marauders of Emotional Damage assault the Covenant proselytizers of Hideout for control of the island's primary oil reserves of Weaver's Fin. Emotional Damage returning to combat after taking a bit of time off themselves. Take a shot at the most recent Covenant company to ascend to Great House status. Hideout forces taking a strong stance on the high ground of the keep overlooking the peat moss bog have no intention to lose to a company that's been AFK for over a month. We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night, as the Outcasts keep Big Pharma outside of the walls and maintain control of Ebonscale Reach. KOTT News were on the scene in Ebonscale and spoke with Outcasts about fighting their old foe.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, it was a banger war. You know, Outcast versus Pharma, that's like Red Sox Yankees. Like, that's like U.S. versus Russia. That's a hard rivalry right there. That's always going to be, like, back and forth. And we were just appreciative to get some of that good content tonight. Really appreciate everyone in Pharma for really trying their best, and everyone in OC really giving it a banger war.
Yeah, I was quite pleased to see them. It's been about 4 or 5 months since they last submitted onto the historical archives for a fight attempt, so I'm looking forward to seeing more from them. As for you guys, it looks like you have some associates, some Covenant associates will be attacking Dog Down tomorrow. Will you be assisting them in attempting to squeeze out the Marauders on the northeast side of the island?
They probably don't need us, you know. We're just going to focus on what we do, but Hideout's probably going to take that dub.
Oh, I forgot to ask you, was there anybody on your side of the battlefield that might have stood out in their performance tonight?
Yeah, our fearless leader, Captain Rogers, really called a great war. He let Oppo get farmed, so that way all those people that were fighting Bonfire that could really pad and have a great war. So I really appreciate Captain Rogers in assigning me for Bonfire, not Oppo. And thanks for not letting me be on that side of a war.
While in Ebonscale, KOTT news crews enjoyed our illustrious card privileges in the Hot Spring Waterfall Spa. Hotel accommodations were then provided by the Ebonscale Inn, courtesy of the Ebonscale Tourism Council. When you stay at the Ebonscale Inn, you'll meet courteous staff and enjoy luxurious vistas, as well as enjoying the finest sleeping and bathing accommodations found anywhere in Eternum. Whenever KOTT news crews stay in Ebonscale, we stay at the Ebonscale Inn. Quickly to the weather for today, and it appears the sun will rise and shine once more for another beautiful day of egg hunting. But never forget the tireless efforts of the invasion response squads, who will call for volunteers tonight when the corruption strike across 20% of the island. Another submission for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPCO. Remember, if it isn't LARPCO, it's cardboard. With special thanks to the Craft Services crew. If you'd like to support KOTT News, Patreon is currently the best way. Tonight, the Covenant converts of Hideout attack the Marauders of Dogged Down for control of the rain-drenched mountain region of Morningdale. In order to secure a firm hold on the Holy Land, their prophets foretell will open to new paths onward. Hideout seek to squeeze the Marauders off the northeast edge of the island. Dogged Down backed up onto the mountain now that they've been pushed out of the swamp, but with their backs to the wall, will this pack of dogs turn into ferocious wolves? Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the Zealots of Hideout successfully drive out Dog Down and secure the Covenant Holy Land of Morningdale. KOTT news crews were on the scene in Greyvale and spoke with a member of the Kill Squad about their victory. Congratulations on your victory here in Morningdale, able to overcome the forces of Dog Down and get into the fort, successfully capturing it with about 7 minutes left to go. Would you care to take us through any pivotal moments you thought you had out there?
For me, being a Kill Squad healer, I rarely get to participate in main comms, mostly by choice. I got too much going on. But honestly, there was a couple points in the fort where we got it ticked 90%-ish. So I felt like it was just inevitable that we'd get a solid push in. Felt almost every time we called for a regroup in the push, we got into fort pretty effortlessly. But overall, yeah, jumped everybody.
Was there anybody out there on your squads individually who you might want to highlight tonight?
And everybody on the Kill Squad. It's really the angle of war that I get to see. Their SNS medium players, pretty sticky, not gonna lie. I don't know a whole lot of people by name anymore. It's been a while. Getting back into the game right now. But overall, our fire staff players, outstanding. Just the fluidity that they provide. for our melee players to push forward in those events. I know Sape wasn't here tonight. Minkow stood in for him. He did an outstanding job as well.
Well, now that you have successfully conquered the tri-state area of the northeast region of the island, what are Hideout's intentions for this section of Eternum?
You know, not in leadership, can't speak for it completely, but I believe the word on the street is Gorilla Town. Gonna see where we stand. Up against, don't know if it's gonna be Brim or CK, but we're gonna see how the current roster holds up against some of the higher ups.
Returning to our ongoing coverage of the Season 2 journey, and KOTT news crews are about halfway through. With a little over 60 days remaining in the season, we'd also say we're a little ahead of schedule as a casual enjoyer. Looking at the weather for today, and even though it's going to be another beautiful afternoon of sunshine for everyone to enjoy, the night will be a stormy mess with a high chance of corruption invasion near you, especially if you live along the northern rim. 2 more lineups submitted for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPco. Remember, if it isn't LARPco, it's cardboard. With special thanks to the Craft Services crew. If you'd like to support KOTT News, Patreon is currently the best way. Tonight, the Marauders of Gorilla Town attack the syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen for control of the bear-infested deep forests of Brightwood. This once critical thoroughfare to Great Cleave and the Shattered Mountains beyond now serve as but a backdrop for the resolve of Gorilla Town as they prepare for combat against the island's principal authority. JDB's Kitchen has been under the watchful eye of several lieutenants of late, but they have all been participating in high-level league play as well, so they're sure to be ready to defend JDB's integrity. Then, the syndicate members of Fresh Bench assail the Covenant of Outcasts for control of the island's master shrimping region of Reek Water. Long has it been since Fresh Bench has taken such a serious stance with their opponent, revealing their true name and unlocking their now unbounded potential. The Zealots of Outcasts can appreciate the magnitude of this moment and stand prepared to defend themselves against the enemy in focus before them. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. No change in the dynamic of Eternum last night, as both great houses managed to maintain an outer point hold. KOTT news crews were experiencing audio difficulties throughout the evening, but reactions were pleasant and complimentary in nature. But not everything went so well for every defensive effort, as a last-minute breach in Windsward disrupts city infrastructure in Corinth. KOTT news crews were able to speak with one of the Invasion Response Squad volunteers about the incidents and relief efforts. I'm standing here with one of the Invasion Response Squad members tonight. An unfortunate breach in Windsward. 4 invasions ongoing simultaneously, and in the final moments, this is where they were able to get a foothold. Would you care to take us through what might have happened out there?
First of all, let me give a shout out to everybody that runs these invasions. Super job. Super great gate callers. Everything was going good. We had a few new people, which it's nice to see. Unfortunately, I think tonight, that little bit of lack of DPS, I think it just got us at the end. We had one gate fall in the front, gate A. Once that gate went down, we tried everything we could to get inside, but unfortunately, we failed tonight. I feel guilty, like I didn't do my job, John, but hey, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Come on out and do some town boards for us and help us rebuild the city, and, well, I'll try harder next time.
Looking at the weather for today, and the morning commute back and forth between mission board tasks is going to be light and breezy. Citizens seeking to volunteer for Invasion Response Squad training should sign up at the community mission boards in Pridewind and Greyvale. No submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by Peace, but we'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, This has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. The Summer Medley Fair continues to spin up for the big summer jam, so be sure to get your dance steps down before the big talent show. If you haven't started working on your fishing, now is the time, with the Medley Fair Maestro offering their scale dust delight for an improved fishing experience. In current events, the new Corsica Tavern is hosting a small traveling band until further notice. Citizens expanding the Silver Crow's roster might find a worthy bard here to add to your ranks. Looking at the weather for today, and once more the sun will rise and shine across Eternum as it makes its daily commute across the sky. But look out after sundown as the humidity drops and the island's corruption invasion forces come out across 20% of the island. 2 more submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPCO. Remember, if it isn't LARPCO, it's cardboard. With special thanks to the Craft Services crew. If you'd like to support KOTT News, Patreon is currently the best way. First up, the Syndicate members of Pharmaceuticals assault the Covenant hero worshippers of Outcasts for control of the resort destination of Ebonscale. Pharmaceutical forces return to try again after testing their initial strategy against their old rival. But will what they learned be enough to win out this time? The Outcasts seem anxious for a rematch of the fight they enjoyed 4 nights ago. These old rivals igniting an old spark as they prepare to defend the Bamboo Forest Preserves. Then, the Marauders of Gorilla Town assail the Covenant converts of West Coast Creatures for control of the barely controllable Restless Shore. It has been a long time since the Marauders of Gorilla Town have been to the Eastern Archipelago, but as a former King of the Hill, they're not unfamiliar with winning here. Despite being on the east coast of the islands, the local Covenant identify as West Coast Creatures. Could this indication be signaling their intent to depart from their East Coast bubble? Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Dynamic change in the history of Eternum last night as the forces of Gorilla Town climb the Mud Hill and topple the reigning kings. And the Syndicate members of Pharmaceuticals capture the medicinal hot springs and resort destination of Ebonscale. KOTT News crews caught up with the members of Pharmaceuticals as they were preparing to hit the hot springs for the night. One of the members were kind enough to spare a few words about the fight.
It was a tough war, to be honest. There was a lot of back and forth in there, but I mean, like, as far as like our group 9 and 10 and group 4 and 8, was I in group 8? I was in group 8. We were pretty persistent in their back line and trying to harass their healers, and I think because of it, like, we were able to turn the tide and win it for Pharmaceuticals. It was a team effort. The other thing is, I mean, like, we just learned from our last war we had with them in Ebonscale, and we just cleaned it up a bit. I mean, like, obviously there's still some stuff that we need to clean up, but the fact that we were able to overcome the mistakes that we had the last war with them till now, like, that's pretty impressive, which I like. You know, that means that we're moving together as a company and moving forward, and next thing you know, Pharmaceuticals gonna own everything else, well, except for, like, you know,
all the other purple stuff.
Yeah.
I hear ya. A quiet night in Restless Shore as participants of the fight called it an early night, sensing the server reset. No time for personal affairs last night as corruption invasions hammered the island. With 2 last-moment breaches, the citizens will be called on for assistance this afternoon. Looking at the weather for today, and even though it's going to be a pleasant afternoon for tending to hamlet repairs, citizens should learn from last night's breaches that it could happen any time, including tonight's 20% chance. 2 more lineup submissions for Simulated Fantasy Combat Resolution tonight, Brought to you by LARPCO. Remember, if it isn't LARPCO, it's cardboard. With special thanks to the craft services crew. If you'd like to support KOTT News, Patreon is currently the best way. Tonight, the Covenant converts of OPR Esports attack the syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen for control of the bear-infested deep forests of Brightwood. OPR Esports make their way to the northern region of Brightwood, intent to make a big dent on the syndicate's central corridor control of the island. JDB's Kitchen, in a position to field 2 defenses tonight, face the 1-2 punch of the Covenant, but they've held 2 before. Will they hold 2 again? Meanwhile, the Covenant converts of Outcasts assault the syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen for Crown and Kingdom of the Western Monarch's Bluff. Outcast forces, rotating themselves out of Ebonscale, march south and take a shot at the monarchy of the ruling syndicate class. JDB's decision-making usually favors financial gain over competitive experience, but that's only if they feel they don't have enough to defend both the forests and the bluff. Be sure to tune in for complete coverage and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News. Hello, Eternum, and welcome to KOTT News, Eternum's #1 source for news. And this is the War Report. Breaking news out of Brightwood as the syndicate members of JDB's Kitchen yield the northern hamlet of Calvary to the Covenant converts of OPR Esports. KOTT News caught up with the Covenant representative about the fight and their intentions for the hamlet. The bell tolls 1 o'clock here in Brightwood. 1 minute after the horns blow and you are successfully the victor. Would you care to take us through how you were to rapidly succeed here in Brightwood?
It was a fun fight. We were expecting a full roster, but too bad the JDB, they had the prioritized Monarch's Bluff. So we're not too upset, but we are looking for defense wars.
Well, I do know that in fights that are over that quickly, there's not often a chance for people to stand out in their individual play. But was there anybody you'd like to compliment or shout out tonight?
Everybody did very good. Shout out to our mercs, shot caller, healers. We do appreciate everybody who's coming out to help us.
Now, I see you have your lumberjacking outfit on. Are you about ready to head out and get down some of these trees?
Yeah, John, we need to clear out the trees to help Freakwater with the bridge.
Gonna reinforce the collapsible deployable bridge, are you?
Yep. We received a lot of buy orders. We need to fill them.
Very well. Well, thank you for giving me a moment of your time. Any other activities or festivities ongoing in Brightwood Calvary that you might like to tell the citizens about?
We're here to make it a good space. We hope not to lose any invasions. We're gonna try to take the best care out of this city.
While in Brightwood getting reactions from the citizens, KOTT News crews were foolish enough to challenge one well-prepared Spuddy. Oh, I see a Spuddy. Quick, Mikey, you got your... Oh, he turned around. He's accepting...
Always.
Oh, he's accepting the challenge. I'm going to be out $1,000. Hold, look out.
Hey, John.
Oh, look at that guy. And the exemplary earring. Right on. Hold on.
A true pleasure, John.
No.
A great night.
The pleasure was mine. Congratulations. You got me. I'm so proud of you for carrying around your potato. Good job, Quick. I'll catch you soon. No breaches to report from last night's corruption invasions, giving everyone a light afternoon for all you fly fishermen out there. But be on the lookout for volunteer requests early and often, as 3 of the 4 projected invasions will occur simultaneous to tonight's war events. 3 lineup submissions for simulated fantasy combat resolution tonight, brought to you by LARPCO. Remember, if it isn't LARPCO, it's cardboard. With special thanks to the craft services crew. If you'd like to support KOTT News, Patreon is currently the best way. Up first, The Marauders of Gorilla Town challenge the champs of JDB's Kitchen for their championship title and the right to rule over Everfall. Gorilla Town smell blood in the central corridor and pounce on the opportunity to strike at the heavyweight champions of Eternum. JDB's Kitchen, on the heels of a double declare last night, yielded the Northern Forests in order to monitor their rest for tonight's fight. Meanwhile, the Syndicate members of Fresh Bench assault the Covenant converts of Outcasts for control of the master fishing lake town of Reekwater. Fresh Bench members have been approached by the Reekwater Union of Fishermen to review the maintenance schedule of the portable, temporary, collapsible bridge. But the Outcasts have already begun shipping the necessary lumber from Brightwood for repairs, so see no reason to adjust the 100% rate of taxation on fishing in order to maintain it. In the nightcap, the Covenant converts of Hideout assail the Marauders of Gorilla Town for control of the crocodile-infested mosh pits of Cutlass Keys. Hideout exercising their right to rematch, but shifting their focus to the other side of the island, perhaps seeking a new vista to attempt to claim as their own. Gorilla Town divided in their attention tonight, unlikely to take their focus off their title bout. But will they have the army to field at least 40 here? We'll have any late-breaking outcomes and reactions from the citizens tonight at 11. Until then, this has been War Correspondent JChalant, KOTT News.